Hello friends, welcome to the lecture on schedules of the Constitution. Let's continue with the next schedule. It is 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution. 7th schedule basically talks about the division of powers between union and state government. So in 7th schedule basically three important lists are given. One is union list, second is state list, and third one is concurrent list. These lists cover the subject on which central government and state governments have legislative powers, which means power to make laws. Now we are going to study these lists in detail during a chapter on center-state relation. Here I just wants to give you definition of these three lists. First, it is union list. On union list, only parliament has right to make law. I am using word only. On state list, it is state legislature who can make law. State legislature. I am not using word only. It means under certain special circumstances parliament also can make laws. And third, concurrent list. On concurrent list, both center as well as state can make laws. Then fourth important list is there, which is called as residuary power. What is residuary power? A subject which is not covered under any of these three lists comes under residuary power. So it is parliament who has the right to make laws on residuary power. So in case of India, residuary power lies in the hands of the parliament. The most important article is article 246. So 7th schedule contains division of powers between union and states. It contains three important lists. One is union list, second is state list, third one is concurrent list. On union list, only and only parliament can make laws. On state list, normally state legislature makes laws, and on concurrent list, both center as well as state, it means parliament as well as state assembly, both of them have right to make laws, and the subjects which are not covered under any of the three lists comes under residuary power. In case of India, parliament has the right to make laws on residuary power. Important article is article 246. Next one, 8th schedule. 8th schedule talks about the languages recognized by the Constitution. 8th schedule talks about languages recognized by the Constitution. Original Constitution recognized only 14 languages. Then 21st Amendment Act added another language, which is Sindhi language. Then 71st Amendment Act added three important languages, which are NMK, Nepali, Manipuri, Konkani. And recently 92nd Amendment Act has added four important language, which is MBDS, Maithili, Bodo, Dongri, Santhali. Now I want to give you a trick how to remember these languages. What is logic behind these languages? See, original Constitution recognized only 14 languages. When India got partitioned into two dominions, one was Dominion of India, second was Dominion of Pakistan. Then the largest chunk of population which came from the side of Pakistan towards the India was from Sindh province. So that's why 21st Constitutional Amendment Act, it added a language which was Sindhi language, right? Because the most important or the largest chunk of people who came inside India were Sindhi people. Then 71st Amendment Act, it added three important languages, which was नमक. नमक आप जानते हो ना, जो हम खाने में यूज करते हैं. NMK, नमक. It added three important languages, NMK, Nepali, Manipuri, Konkani. Right. Now what is total of 21 and 17? It is 92. Right. Just for the sake of understanding. So 92nd Amendment Act, it added a degree of doctor. What was that degree? MBDS. Here just only instead of B, it is D is there. MBDS. It stands for Maithili, then Bodo, then Dongri, then Santhali. So in this way, originally 14 languages were there. Then 15th added was Sindhi. Then three languages were added. They were Nepali, Manipuri, Konkani, and finally four languages were added. They were MBDS, Maithili, Bodo, Dongri, Santhali. So in this way, currently Indian constitution recognizes total 22 languages. Try to use this formula to remember this important schedule. 14 plus 15 plus 3, 18 plus 4, 22. So currently Indian constitution recognizes how many languages? It recognizes total 22 languages. Recently we made 96th Amendment Act in 2011. This 96th Amendment Act, it renamed Oriya language as a Odia language. This is very, very important. UPSC just plays a trick with you, and UPSC just interchanges these languages. UPSC says that 96th Amendment Act renamed Odia language as Oriya language. No, it is not the case. Read this line very carefully. 96th Amendment Act, it renamed Oriya language as Odia language. And again, the two more important articles are Article 344 and Article 351, which are related with 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. These are related with 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. 9th schedule, very, very important article, recently was in news. Specifically, it was in news when reservation was demanded by Marathas in Maharashtra as well as Gujjars in Haryana. So why this 9th schedule was in news? Because I want to use a word. 9th schedule gives blanket immunity. It means complete immunity to a law, to a regulation, to an ordinance from judicial scrutiny, whether it is a law or resolution made by parliament or state assembly. It gives complete immunity from any kind of judicial scrutiny. So it is a 9th schedule. We will try to understand this 9th schedule in detail. Also, we are going to study this 9th schedule during the topic on basic structure of the Indian Constitution. 9th schedule comes under Article 31 capital B of the Indian Constitution. 9th schedule is added by First Amendment Act 1951. Very, very important. I repeat once again. 9th schedule is added by First Constitutional Amendment Act 1951. Now what it says? 9th schedule contains various acts and regulations of state legislature which are dealing with land reforms and abolition of zamindari system, and the parliament dealing with other matters. And these matters have protection from judicial review. These matters have protection from judicial scrutiny. Originally, only 13 regulations and acts were added. Presently, we have more than 282 plus regulations, laws and acts put in 9th schedule. It protects the laws included in it from judicial review. It provides blanket immunity. But recent judgment of the Supreme Court in 2007, it said, Supreme Court ruled that the laws included in this schedule, that is 9th schedule, after 24th April 1973, the landmark judgment date, which was Keshwananda Bharati case, are now open to judicial review. It means the act and regulation which are put in 9th schedule before 24th of April 1973 are not open for judicial review, but the acts and regulation which are put in 9th schedule after 24th of April 1973 are open for judicial review, are open for judicial scrutiny. Very, very important. So it was 9th schedule. Important article is Article 31 capital B. Then comes 10th schedule. It is related with Anti-Defection Act. See, this 10th schedule is added by 52nd Amendment Act 1985. Very, very important. Now, this 10th schedule contains the provisions relating to disqualification of members of parliament and state legislature based on the defection, that is moving from one political party on whose ticket they got elected to another political party, which is called as defection. Now what for 56th Amendment Act had said? It said if less than 1/3 members of a political party, if less than 1/3 members of a political party joins any other political party, they shall be disqualified under Anti-Defection Act of 1985. It means to get disqualified, at least 1/3 or more than equal to 1/3 members from one political party should join other political party. If less than 1/3 members of a political party joins any other political party, they shall be disqualified under Anti-Defection Act. The important articles related with Anti-Defection Act are Article 102 related to the Parliament and Article 191 related to the state legislature. Then we made changes in this act by 91st Amendment Act of 2003. Why the changes were made, we are going to study during a chapter on the Parliament. But remember, we made changes in the 10th schedule by 91st Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003. What it said? It said if less than 2/3 members of a political party joins any other political party, they shall be disqualified under Anti-Defection Act. It means not to get disqualified, minimum 2/3 or more than 2/3 members of a political party must join other political party. Now here they added one important point. When 2/3 or more than 2/3 members of a political party joins any other political party, it is called as merger of political parties. I repeat once again, if 2/3 or more than 2/3 members of a political party joins any other political party, it is called as a merger of political parties. Very, very important point. The decision regarding Anti-Defection Act or disqualification of members under Anti-Defection Act shall be taken by Speaker of the Lok Sabha and Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Here remember one thing, decision of the Speaker is not final. Very, very important point. Decision of the Speaker is not final and it is open for judicial review. I repeat once again, the decision of Speaker is not final and it is open for judicial review. Then comes 11th schedule of the Indian Constitution. What it says? 11th schedule talks about Panchayat Raj. It specifies the powers, authorities and responsibilities of the Panchayat. You must be knowing Panchayat Raj. This Panchayat talks about rural local government. I repeat once again, this Panchayat talks about rural local government, which has, you must have heard, which has, one is Gram Sabha, then comes Gram Panchayat, then comes Panchayat Samiti, and finally it is Zilla Parishad. So the functions, authorities, powers and responsibilities of Gram Sabha, Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti and ZP are given by 73rd Amendment Act in 11th schedule of the Indian Constitution. The most important article which should be remembered by every student is Article 243G. 11th schedule and Article 243G talks about total 29 functions. This is very favorite bit of UPSC. UPSC has asked a question many times on this particular bit. How many functions are given in 11th schedule of the Indian Constitution? So here remember, total 29 functions are given in 11th schedule of the Indian Constitution. I repeat once again, total 29 functions are given in 11th schedule of the Indian Constitution. This 11th schedule is added in the Indian Constitution by 73rd Amendment Act 1992. Its implementation started in the year 1993. Many a time this confusion is there whether this act belonged to 92 or 93. So I want to make it very clear. 73rd Amendment Act belongs to the year 1992 and not the year 1993. Remember this thing, very, very important. Then comes 12th schedule. It talks about urban local government. I repeat once again, 12th schedule talks about urban local government. Like municipalities, municipal corporations, municipal council, municipal panchayat, nagar panchayat, all the things are covered under the 74th Amendment Act. It specifies powers, authorities and responsibilities of municipalities, that is urban local government is covered under 74th Amendment Act. The most important article is Article 243W. In case of 73rd Amendment Act, important article was 243G. In case of 74th Amendment Act, important article is 243W. 12th schedule talks about 18 urban functions. Like 11th schedule talked about how many functions? 29 functions. Same 12th schedule talks about how many functions? It talks about total 18 functions. This particular schedule is added in the Indian Constitution by 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. Remember this thing, 73rd Amendment Act, Rural Local Government, 74th Amendment Act, Urban Local Government. These two are very, very important constitutional amendment which heralded the beginning of new social revolution in the Indian Constitution. Just it is a quick revision. First schedule, it talks about names. Second schedule, it talks about emolument. Third schedule, it talks about oath. Here I gave you that particular idea. They demand money first and then they take oath. That's a second schedule, talks about emolument. Third schedule talk about oath. Fourth schedule, it talks about representation of states in Rajya Sabha. I told you the definition of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is representative institution of various state governments. Fifth schedule, we write 5 like S. So fifth schedule talks about administration and control of scheduled area and scheduled tribe. Sixth schedule, it talks about tribal, it talks about administration of tribal area in 4 states which are ATM square: Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. This ATM does not cover which state? It does not cover Manipur. Why? Because all other states are from northeastern India. So this ATM square does not cover Manipur. 7th schedule, it talks about division of power, which has 3 important lists. One is union list, second is state list, third one is concurrent list. And residuary power in case of India lies in the hands of parliament. 8th schedule, it talks about languages. Originally our constitution recognized 14 languages, then 15th Sindhi was added, then 3 languages were added which were Nepali, Manipuri, Konkani, and finally one degree was added, MBDS, Maithili, Bodo, Dongri and Santhali. So currently Indian constitution recognizes total 22 languages. 9th schedule, it talks about article 31 capital B. 10th schedule, it talks about Anti-Defection Act of 1985. 11th schedule, Panchayat Raj, it has total 29 functions. An important article is 243 capital G. 12th schedule, it talks about total 18 functions. It has important article 243 W. So keep watching the videos, keep sharing with your friends, and all your feedbacks, suggestions and questions are very welcome. Thank you very much. Have a good day.